Hey everyone, welcome to this video tutorial. This one is going to show you how to structure a response to a 10 mark applied from the item for crime and deviance. And I'll give you a student paragraph to have a little bit of a look at. Here's a cheeky little reminder about what to do on a 10 mark applying from the item. This is really important because they appear on all three of the A-level papers. You'll have 15 minutes to answer, 7.5 minutes per paragraph. Make sure you have got those two balanced paragraphs. Make sure you read the item carefully. This will provide the hooks. Make sure that you quote them. They are placed by the examiner for you to develop and apply your knowledge to. And also look for the question hooks also. This will give you further opportunity to show application of your knowledge and impress everybody with how good you are. So let's have a look at the question that we are focusing on today. It is apply material from item A, analyse two functions of punishment. And I've got this from the Webb textbook, the AQA A-Level Sociology Book 2, Webb, Westergaard, Trobe, Townend. And it's a really lovely item for you to practice on. There's quite a few hooks that you could use to apply different theories. So I'll just give you some examples of, or some ideas of what you could be exploring with the nature of this type of question. So an example of hook number one could be the importance of society having shared values. Now, shared values should be screaming at you, oh, that is functionalist. This idea that everybody's got shared norms and values, and the function of punishment is to reinforce social solidarity and maintain a collective conscience, for example. So you could go down that route. Or you could talk about the function of punishment, which reflects the nature of an unequal society. So this is allowing you to explore more a Marxist view of the role of punishment and how it benefits the nature of capitalism. So you could use examples of punishment to back up that. And this final hook from the item, which is according to the type of society in which it's found, actually could hook quite a few theories on this. So for example, Durkheim compares a traditional society with its very much expressive function of punishment with a modern society which has more restitutive function of punishment. Or you could go down the Marxist view, the type of society in which it's found. So you could talk about capitalist society and how in a capitalist society that punishment reflects the values of capitalism, which is often money or that type of economy. Or you could even go down Foucault and talk about punishment in terms of a disciplinary or the function of prisons, how that is the main function of punishment and rehabilitating the body and the mind and so on. So this question does give you lots of scope to have a really good practice. So let's have a look at a student answer. I'm going to break it down and I'm going to explain why I quite like this student answer and why it does the job. So let's explore a student answer. And just a reminder, this student will have spent 15 minutes answering this question in total. And that includes reading the item, highlighting, making notes, making a little bit of a mini plan about what hooks you're going to use and what evidence you are or explanations you're going to use to answer that question. So you might use a couple of minutes of that 15 minutes to help answer it. So you're looking at up to 7.5 minutes to answer that first paragraph. So as you can see, this student has wrote a chunky paragraph in the time allowed. And what I really like about it is in this first sentence, they do exactly what the question was asking for. They've applied from the item and they've also made that link to the question. The first function of punishment applied from the item is, and they've quoted it. Makes it really clear for the examiner. They don't have to hunt around for it. They don't say, oh, is that what the student means? It's really, really clear and you just really want to signpost it. So this student has picked out the importance of society having shared values. So after making that initial point, this student has gone on to explain it. So they have linked functionalist ideas using Durkheim's theory of crime as this positive function of boundary maintenance. We've got quite a few keywords in there which we would associate with functionalism, but also it actually talks about what the function of punishment is, that idea of boundary maintenance, which is reaffirming the shared values, and it ensures its members feel moral unity. So actually the explanation does link to that shared values point, and it follows that theme quite through the answer. Then what I really like my students to do is once they're explaining it, I want them to apply to an example just to back it up. So because we're talking about punishment, it would make sense to give an example of a punishment. If you were talking about a crime, it would make sense to give an example of a crime. So this student does that. It says, this means when, especially a violent crime or a crime which threatens to challenge the social order, again, another sexy keyword according to Functionalist, society responds with a harsh punishment such as a public trial or a lengthy sentence or an execution. And this is really expressive, which is something that Durkheim talked about. It shows society's emotions of that moral outrage, but it also reaffirms the collective conscience. It reaffirms the boundaries. Now then we can start to show some analysis. So I expect students to make some sort of comment. Does it link to other ideas? Can you compare it? Can you expand on your explanation? And the student does that. So they continue to explain whilst also serving as a reminder of the society's shared norms and values. So we're keeping with the theme from the hook. It can also transmit the idea that those that will not obey will also be challenged to avoid anomie, descending into chaos. So we're avoiding that. So this student has then showed a little bit of analysis and showing how maybe one function of punishment might actually do multiple things. And finally, there are also marks available as well for analysis, but also evaluation. This student finishes off with evaluation, and what I really like is they continue with this theme about the shared values. So this theory assumes that society does have shared values to start with, and punishment reflects the societal values, whereas another theory such as Marxist would argue that these punishments reflects the values of the ruling class and it acts as a form of social control of the proletariat rather than benefit anyone. So rather than it reading like a bolt-on evaluation, it actually is following the theme. Now, one of my earlier videos, and I'll put the link to it, I talk about this thing called a logical chain of reasoning, and what this student has done, they have followed that logical chain. Each part links to the next part, and hopefully you'll have seen that as I've explained through this answer. So overall, make sure that you explain what you know about the hook from the item. That will get you the AO1. Talk about the theory, use key words, key concepts to help explain it, as well as linking to the question, link to the item, and also explain that also how it does and how it is relevant, using getting your AO2 marks, and apply examples as well. That will get you application marks as well. And to finish off your paragraph, you can gain marks from either analysis or evaluation, and that will get you cheeky AO3. So as always, massive thank you for watching. If you have got any questions, please do not hesitate to leave a comment, ask any questions, please click the like button. Massive thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great evening. Bye bye.